again. We are looking at requests for approval of the federal government 2025 to 2026 external borrowing rolling plan in the total facility and projects and programs under the borrowing plan of $21.5 billion and Japanese yen 15 billion and grant of 65 million euros, respectively, and the summary of the breakdown is attached herewith. The Senate, in the light of the removal of the fuel subsidy and its impact on the national economy, approval is sought for the external borrowing plan. I want to emphasize that the projects and programs included in the borrowing plan were selected based on thorough technical and economic evaluations, as well as their anticipated contributions to the socio-economic development of the country. These initiatives aim to generate employment, promote skill acquisition, foster entrepreneurship, reduce poverty, and enhance food security, all of which will improve the livelihoods of the average Nigerian. The majority of these projects and programs will be implemented across all the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. In light of the significant infrastructure deficit in the country and the vast financial resources needed to address this gap amid declining domestic funding, it has become essential to pursue prudent external borrowing to close the financial shortfall. These funds will primarily be directed towards critical infrastructure projects, including sectors of power, railways, healthcare, amongst others. Given the urgent nature of these needs and the importance of stabilizing the economy, it is crucial to seek the consideration and approval of the distinguished Senate for the 2025 to 2026 external borrowing plan. This will enable the government to fulfill its obligations to the Nigerian people through timely disbursements and effective project implementation. While I look forward to the consideration and approval of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief, Federal Republic of Nigeria. The financials are all attached to enable the committee and the Senate do a thorough job. This request for approval of the external borrowing rolling plan is hereby referred to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts to revert to the Senate within 2 weeks. Another correspondence from Mr. President. Request for the approval of the National Assembly for the issuance of Federal Government of Nigeria bonds to settle outstanding pension liabilities under the Contributory Pension Scheme. I write to request for the kind approval of the National Assembly for the issuance of Federal Government of Nigeria FGN bonds in the domestic debt market by the Debt Management Office to settle outstanding pension liabilities under the Contributory Pension Scheme as at December 2023 in the sum of 753,983,246,571 naira. The distinguished Senate may wish to note that the Pension Reform Act PRA 2014 provides for the following, amongst others, sections 15(1) and 32, 39, subsection 2 and 3, recognize the accrued pension rights of employees for services rendered before the commencement of the implementation of the PRA 2004 in Nigeria mandate the federal government of Nigeria to set aside 5% of its monthly wage bill into redemption fund to settle such past pension liabilities, and National Pension Commission to determine any shortfall in this regard. Section 15.4 guarantees the right of retirees to pension review in line with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which provides that pensions shall be reviewed every 5 years or whenever salaries are reviewed. Section 5, subsection 2, Section 6, subsection 2 requires federal government of Nigeria to fund the shortfall in the retirement savings account, RSAs, of eligible university professors who are to retire on their full salary in line with extant laws. And Section 82, subsection 2, establishes the Pension Protection Fund and mandates federal government of Nigeria to contribute annual subvention of 1% into the fund to part finance minimum pension guarantee for retirees whose RSAs balances had depleted while receiving pension. The Senate is invited to note that the federal government of Nigeria has not been complying with the implementation of the above provisions of the PRA 2014 over the years due to the revenue challenges leading to accumulation of pension arrears with the attendant hardships to retirees. To settle the accrued pension liabilities as of December 2023 in the sum of 983,246,571. I will take that again. 757,983,246,571 naira. The government has decided to raise funds through the issuance of federal government of Nigeria bonds in the domestic debt market. The proposed issuance of federal government of Nigeria bonds to settle outstanding pension liabilities was approved by the Federal Executive Council in its meeting held on February 4, 2025. This request to the National Assembly to approve the issuance of federal government of Nigeria bonds by the DMO to settle pension liabilities in the sum of borrowing of 757,983,246,571 naira is pursuant to the provisions of Section 44, subsection 1-2 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, which requires the approval of the National Assembly for all new borrowings by the federal government of Nigeria. Further to the provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, may find below the purpose and cost-benefit analysis of the proposed borrowing. Since the borrowing is for the settlement of federal government of Nigeria pension obligations to retirees, it is an essential investment in human capital development, which is allowed under the FRA, under the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. Benefits. It will enable the federal government of Nigeria meet its obligations under the CPS and restore confidence in the pension industry. Positive welfare effect on the retirees, as this will enable them to meet their basic needs, such as payments for routine drugs, rent, school fees of their children, and other family needs. This will improve the health and avoid untimely death of the retirees. It has potential to contribute to productivity and morale of public servants as this will assure them of the federal government of Nigeria's commitment to meeting pension obligations. And 4, settlement of pension liabilities have potential to improve aggregate demand and economic growth because it will enhance liquidity in the economy. Cost implication for public debt. The borrowing would lead to increase in the public debt stock. And 2, it will also increase debt service for the federal government of Nigeria. Based on the foregoing, I wish to request for the approval of the Senate for the issuance of the federal government of Nigeria bonds in the domestic debt market by the Debt Management Office to settle federal government of Nigeria pension obligations under the contributory pension scheme as of December 31st, 2023, in the sum of 757,983,246,571 naira only. While I look forward to the timely consideration and approval of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A specimen of the approval required for this purpose is also attached. This is referred to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts to also revert to the Senate within 2 weeks. Another correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senator Kaila, Distinguished Senator Sitangu, if you people are back from your factional meeting, factional neck meeting, you can take your seat so you listen to these important announcements. Welcome.
No faction.
Distinguished Senator Ningi, I did not hear you, but I heard Distinguished Senator Dan Kwambo, who said I should repeat it because it's the truth. Dan Kwambo, that's what you said. You said you can say that again. So I will not say that you have factions. I will just say that again. So, distinguished colleagues, request for the approval of the National Assembly for establishment of foreign currency denominated issuance program in the domestic debt market. Please listen. Request for the approval of the National Assembly for establishment of foreign currency denominated issuance program in the domestic debt market. I write to request the kind approval of the National Assembly for capital raising of up to USD $2 billion in the domestic debt market towards the implementation of the Presidential Executive Order on Foreign Currency Denominated Financial Instruments, that is Local Issuance Program, and Related Matters Order 2023, dated October 19, 2023. Order number 16 of 2023 by the Debt Management Office DMO, Please see Annexure 1 for the Presidential Executive Order. The distinguished Senate may wish to note that this request is pursuant to the provisions of Section 44, subsections 1 and 2 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, which requires the approval of the National Assembly for all new borrowings, and Section 1, subsection 7 of the Presidential Executive Order that requires the National Assembly to appropriate the proceeds of the capital raising. Further to the provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, which defines the use of proceeds of all borrowings and requires cost-benefit analysis of capital raising, please find below A, use of proceeds. As stated in the Presidential Executive Order, the proceeds of the debt instrument and its accretion shall be ring-fenced and invested in critical sectors to be approved by the President on the recommendation of the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, subject to appropriation of the National Assembly. The Minister, in making his recommendation, shall have regard to a sector's capacity to accelerate economic growth, earn foreign exchange, drive infrastructure development, create jobs, and yield reasonable returns on investment. Benefits 2. Investors will have the opportunity to earn reasonable income on their US dollar funds while allowing the federal government to channel the funds to productive uses in the economy. These are very critical things. It is a viable fiscal strategy with potential to boost accretion to reserves and promote exchange rate stability. It will help diversify the sources of funding for the federal government of Nigeria and deepen the investor base for federal government of Nigeria securities. And it will increase the range of products in the local financial market and enable investors to diversify their portfolios. C, cost implications for public debt. The capital raising will lead to increase in the public debt stock and will also increase debt service costs. Based on the foregoing, I wish to request for approval of the Senate for capital raising of up to USD 2 billion through the establishment of a foreign currency denominated financial instrument issuance program in the domestic debt market by the Debt Management Office, in furtherance of the implementation of the Presidential Executive Order on Foreign Currency Denominated Financial Instruments Local Issuance Program and Related Matters Order 2023, dated October 19, 2023. While I look forward to the constitution and timely approval of the Senate, please accept, distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President Commander-in-Chief, Federal Republic of Nigeria, with annexures. Again, this is referred to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts to revert to the Senate in 2 weeks.